Um, yeah, okay, hold on. Okay, we're starting to record. My name is Jim Bray. I'm the chair of the Environmental Commission, Lower Makefield Township, and I'm officially opening the EAC meeting of September 11th, 2025. The first item on the agenda is review approval of the August 14th, 2025 meeting minutes. I think everybody has had a chance to review those. If there's no changes or modifications, I will entertain a motion to approve them. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, all in favor, so the motion is passed. Now, the second item on the agenda we're going to be talking about our new EAC members, Eleanor Turner and Elizabeth Quigley. And also congratulations to Dominique, who is now a full member rather than an alternate member.
Thank you.
And I should just briefly explain, the difference between the two before we have Eleanor and Elizabeth talk briefly about themselves. An alternate member, we have full complement of 7 members, full members, and 1 alternate member. Now, the way that works is that essentially we treat an alternate member as a full member. But if we have a full house, meaning all 7 members are here, then the alternate member cannot vote. However, if we're missing 1 or more, then the alternate becomes a full member for the evening and he or she can vote. Most of the time, we might be missing 1 member, but a lot of times we don't vote on specific motions during a meeting. So anyway, Eleanor, why don't you just talk about yourself, your background, and why you wanted to join the EAC?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to be a part of the commission. My background is actually in fashion, and I have started 2 companies, one of which I run out of Lower Makefield Township. It's called The Big Favorite, and we actually use this brand to educate about the pervasiveness of microplastics in our clothing. And we have done several activations, brand activations, to educate the public about plastics in clothing and the life cycle of your clothes, basically, and that they end up as trash at the end of the day. So choose wisely. I also I've lived in Lower Makefield for 3 years now and just have fallen in love with it. We love the area. It's so beautiful. And I've become very passionate about rewilding. We're actually in the process of rewilding our front yard, which has been very beautiful this spring. We're coming up with a coalition of neighbors to do some new tree plantings in the neighborhood, which is Westover. We live in Westover. And I just want to keep it beautiful. So I thought, hey, I don't have kids. I'll get involved and see how I can help and see how I can bring forth the goals of this committee.
Well, thank you very much. And as you know, looking at last month's agenda, fast fashion is actually a topic that we want to be discussing in the future. The lecture series is pretty much cemented for this year, but not necessarily, okay? But I think a fast fashion lecture that I talked to you before the meeting
Absolutely.
Would be a real plus for next spring.
Oh, absolutely. I can do
And
that.
if you are planting trees in the neighborhood, we do have a native plant ordinance. You're not required a homeowner to do that, but you get bonus points if you do plant
Great.
native trees. Okay.
We do. We are planting native trees.
Okay. And if you want more info on that too, we have a native plant list.
Great.
That's part of our ordinance that I would be glad to send to you.
Great.
Okay. And pardon?
Send to me as well, please.
Okay, I sure will. And I'll echo your statements about Lower Makefield Township. Eleanor, I have lived here 50 years, and we've done a lot of traveling all over the world. There's no place I want to live but the Northeast United States, and especially in this area.
It's
It's
beautiful.
absolutely gorgeous.
It sure is. So I grew up in Virginia, near the Blue Ridge Mountains in Lynchburg, and moved to New York immediately after college, and then followed my then boyfriend, now husband, to Philly, and we ended up in the middle.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Well, thank you.
We drove through this area actually, and just thought, this is gorgeous. We have to be here. So we ended up here.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, Elizabeth, how about a little background about yourself?
Yes, hi. I have a bachelor's and master's in material science and engineering. I started out in my first job as a research engineer for a rubber valve company and wanted to set up a sustainability program to try to assess the materials that we use and how we could introduce more circular economy ideas into their product line. So trying to evaluate where our ingredients were coming from, how they were being processed, and how they could be treated for end of life in a way that wouldn't cause more harm to the environment. And in that company, because it's in the rubber industry and they're very old school, kind of set in their ways, and I didn't have a team of other like-minded people to work with, I found myself just not having quite the expertise or the personnel to really do the things that I wanted to do. So I found another job as a sustainability engineer at a bigger company, Purolite, which is located, they have a factory in Philadelphia, and they're a subsidiary of Ecolab, which makes a lot of the cleaning products. So in Purolite, they make little plastic microbeads for water filtration purposes, and they use a ton of water in their processing. So they're looking for ways to reduce their water footprint in the manufacturing plant. So I had some grand ideas about using using plants to create a more natural-based filtration system in a way that instead of dumping the water back into the sewers, or dumping the water into the sewers, you could instead just recycle the water and treat it and then be able to reuse it in the processing. They were more interested in incremental changes to satisfy stakeholder goals and interests. So after butting heads for about 6 months, I said, this isn't worth it, and left that company. But luckily, I was able to work part-time, not part-time, but contract for the EPA and the Department of Energy. I was able to be a grant reviewer for the EPA's Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program. That was their $5 billion grant program that they needed people to evaluate the grant applications from a technical perspective. And I was able to provide my expertise. And then I did a similar thing for the Department of Energy's Vision Open 2024. So I was able to use a little bit more of my material science background to evaluate how people were going to use alternative materials like biochar, or try to develop alternative types of plastic that weren't fossil fuel based, and bring that research more into the advanced stages where it could be used by companies. Now I work as a grant writer for a local nonprofit called Welcoming the Stranger, and I'm looking to get back into the field of sustainability and really try to shape climate change policy on a larger scale, but that is not quite lucrative right now, least to say. So I thought, you know what, I want to settle down here, and I want to be able to give back to the community and be able to use my knowledge and expertise, not only on a large impact, but also where I live. And that's what led me here. Is I saw information about the Environmental Advisory Council, and that, those little like newsletters, like the Yardley Voice and all that, and the Langhorne Ledger. I saw that information in that and ended up applying.
All right, how long have you been in Lower Makefield?
Since 2021, about 4 years.
Okay, all right. Well, It's an impressive background, and let me give you a little information that would be of interest to you too.
I think Alan's on the
I'm
iPad.
trying to, but
I think you click on him.
click on invite.
No, at the top on the iPad. There you go. Up. Admit.
Yeah.
Admit.
There you go. There he is.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to close that other screen?
Hey.
Close the little X. Nope, not that one, Jim. Nope. Go to the big box in the middle.
This one?
Yep, up in the upper right-hand corner of that box. There you go, right there. There you go.
All right, what about this other box?
No, leave that open in case somebody else jumps in.
Okay, all right.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Alan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I sure can. It's a little windy here.
Okay. I think Alan is in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Is that correct?
That is correct. Just got here.
Okay. Well, we're in Yardley, Pennsylvania. So anyway,
Wow.
all right. Well, welcome aboard, Alan. You just missed Elizabeth and Eleanor talking about their background.
Okay,
but,
hey.
You know, I can fill you in about that the next time we see you.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, Elizabeth, in response to some of the items you talked about in your background, we have a very cutting-edge, low-impact development stormwater management in Lower Makefield Township that we put in December of 2006. One of the interesting things about that is it treats water as a tremendous natural asset and not a nuisance. So you might want to eventually take a look at that. And also, as far as other water issues are concerned, we have very extensive buffers that are required when development occurs in Lower Makefield Township, and it's primarily for that reason. So anyway, so I think this background is going to be helpful to us. We also, in EAC project assignments, I'm reluctant to assign anything to our new members until I've had a chance to mull this over. But your background in writing grants, I think, could prove very helpful to us if that's something you might be interested in.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, all right. All right, the next item on the agenda are the EAC projects assignments and environmental grants. Elizabeth, you just said that you'd be willing to do that. EAC awards, it's been a while since the EAC has received a state or national award, not because we haven't been doing good things, and as a matter of fact, we have, but the issue is we don't have anybody looking for these things. When you go back in time, we won the Pennsylvania Governor's Award for Environmental Excellence. We also won, which was really, really distinctive, the first time ever the United States Environmental Protection Agency award for the Mid-Atlantic region, which has about 40 or 50 million people. And Lower Makefield Township won that award for environmental excellence, and we were the only municipality in the whole region to win that. So, and the reason is because at the time we had a grant writer who was on our committee, and she would constantly look for these things. So they're out there, and I think the awards serve a very, very useful purpose. Firstly, it's kind of a pat on the back to all of us in the township for some of the work that we've done. However, you know, in the absence of awards, we certainly do it anyway. And also, I think, as far as the Board of Supervisors is concerned, and I think John might say that too, it's a very, very positive thing for the Board of Supervisors when somebody is congratulating them rather than yelling at them. So anyway, so again, Eleanor, you might want to consider that, but I can talk to you later about that too, if you want to mull it over a little more.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm happy to jump in if.
Oh, okay. The other item left is a tree tenders versus municipal tree commission. And Sumya, I'm not putting you on the spot. There's something you might want to think about doing, okay? You've done that kind of analysis before for us with the tree tenders, and I think you did a really good job. So, pardon? Oh, yeah.
So, but then there was better response to Monica's volunteering system.
Right. Well, one of the problems that we're having in Lower Makefield Township is that we need more maintenance people, but we can't hire more maintenance people for the simple fact that the way our tax level is right now, it's at the absolute top. And under Pennsylvania law, we can't raise taxes unless we have a reappraisal of all the houses in Lower Makefield Township. And I don't think that's going to happen. So I know just about all the members on the maintenance crew, and they're a first-rate group. But under the under our tree planting program, to date, we have planted 1,383 new trees. And generally, they're watered with gator bags the first year. But they require, I think, more maintenance. And one of the ways of taking care of this is either through a tree tenders program that we had several years ago, but the leadership didn't do a good job on that and it kind of folded. Or the other option is a shade tree commission or just a tree commission. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe you could just talk about the benefits of each of those and then give a little report, maybe next meeting or the meeting after, however long it takes you. Actually just the pros and cons, let's say, of a tree tender organization and then a shade tree commission. Shade tree commissions can work in a lot of different ways, okay? They can be literally a commission unto themselves and have quite a deal of power, or they can be more advisory. And I have a little information I could send you on those, but I think we need to be educated as far as those two are concerned. And possibly, if it makes sense, and the EAC agrees, that we would bring this to the township and see what the township actually thinks about those concepts.
But just looking at the past experience, I think if we can, based on the maintenance routine required, if we can break that into chunks of volunteering activities, there's a lot of volunteering that people want to do, get
Right.
engaged with formal to get hours and stuff. And with Monica's help, because she's in touch with all the groups that need volunteering hours, that might actually have some results. I mean, I'll look into what you're saying, but I'm just going by past experience. I think if we actually want the trees pruned, watered, et cetera, I mean, we actually want to get the maintenance implemented. We need to tap into the people who are wanting to volunteer.
Right. Well, that's why I'm thinking of the tree tenders now. We use volunteers from Lower Makefield Township on many occasions. We have a very ambitious tree planting program, and I'll explain that to Elizabeth and Eleanor a bit later. But when we plant smaller trees and shrubs, historically, we've used volunteers. And that's a specific occasion. We get a lot of people out for a day or two. But what I'm talking about is something on an ongoing basis that you can actually tap frequently and that they have assigned duties and that sort of thing. Both the tree tenders would take care of that as well as a tree commission. So that's why I would like just a little description from you about how each of them work and what they can actually do. But yes, the volunteers, Monica Tierney, who is the director of Parks and Recs, has done a superb job over the years. And we talked to her before any large planting is going to, and I'm talking about large planting of smaller trees and shrubs, because most of the trees that we plant are 2.5-inch to 3 caliper trees, and they weigh with the ball a couple of 100 pounds. So this is not something we have volunteers do, or for that matter, even our own personnel. When we actually bid out to have these trees planted, that includes the planting, the watering, and a year warranty. As a matter of fact, the township is in the process right now, and John will testify that we just approved the planting the other day at the BOS meeting, and John and Jim Majewski will be sending out an RFP request for proposal very shortly, if he hasn't done so already. So, okay. The next item on the agenda is Kevin Gallen has been, how long have you been with the EAC, Kevin? 3 or 4 years? 6? Wow. Wow. I didn't think it was that long. Well, yeah. Every time I think something is 2 or 3 years, it ends up being 6 or 7 or 8. But I think maybe that's a function of age. I'm not sure. But anyway, Kevin has done an outstanding job for us over the years. And I want to thank him personally for his years of community service. He's worked on several projects for us. And even as he was leaving the commission now, he left us with 2 memos about specific projects that he's working on that will be of great value to us moving forward. So again, from the whole board, I want to thank you for your years of service. Kevin, you've done an A1 job for us, and a little round of applause.
Hey, Kevin.
Now, Kevin, is there anything you would like to say while you're here? Okay. Okay, I understand that, but then again, and Kevin actually, Kevin has his own business and family obligations, and I'm amazed he stayed with us 6 years with all those outside obligations. But again, I want to thank you, Kevin. You've been very, very helpful to us, and we wish you nothing but good luck in the future. And I know from what you said too, some of the projects that you worked on, we're going to need some input in the future. And you've graciously said that we can give you a buzz anytime we need you. Thank you again. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the 2024 Long Range Master Tree Plan. We'll discuss the status of the 2025 fall planning and site tours to tag dead trees for replacement. Myself and Alan are going to talk about that. Firstly, I'll just talk about the first part of that. We have in Lower Makefield Township a very, very unique tree bank ordinance whereby developers, when they cut down trees as part of any development, they have to replace those on a ratio basis. And it depends upon the size of the tree cut down. For instance, I think if it's a 10-inch tree, the developers have to replace it with 4 2.5 to 3-inch caliper trees. Now, in many instances, we prefer it to be done on site, but in many instances, the developer doesn't want to do that. Now, under the terms of our tree bank ordinance, then the developer has the option of putting money instead of planting in what we called a tree bank, which is a specific account set up in Lower Makefield that can only be used to plant trees. Right now, we've actually just changed the pricing structure, and each tree, I think, is $450. So if a developer cuts down a 10-inch tree, that's $1,800 goes into the tree bank. If the tree is high, a larger caliper, it's even more money. To date, since that concept has been a part of our ordinance, we have probably collected roughly about $750,000, which is pretty amazing. So far to date, we have planted 1,383 trees. And the fall planting, I haven't seen the final. We made some suggestions, sent them to the Board of Supervisors. And I believe there were some minor changes that the board made. And I think it roughly is about 157 trees. Does that sound about right, John? Yeah, yeah. And that, those trees will be planted this fall. So, and then, Alan, you want to talk about the dead tree inventory?
Sure. We were going to go around to at least the major tree planting sites where we've used tree bank money to put in trees and identify trees that need replacement. Some of them will be under warranty and the township can replace them for free. Others won't be under warranty and will have to come out of tree bank money. But we're going to put black ribbon around them in memorial to them and identify exactly where they are and send that information to Jim Majewski so he can have them replaced. Probably not this fall, but maybe in the spring. And I thought, I don't know, Jim, and anybody else who wants to come along, maybe start on Saturday, the 20th, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, say 20th.
20th, Saturday the 20th. Okay.
Yeah. And maybe just for an hour. I was thinking of starting at Memorial Park and then going down to the golf course. And that will probably take about an hour right there. And then we can do it again maybe the next day. I don't know. But eventually get to all the major sites. The Keola, Great Keola, Fred Allen Fields. We want to get there the next time. So that's the plan.
All right.
And we'll identify the type of tree too that's dead, so it can be replaced. A similar tree.
For the most part, we will be able to identify the species, but I think it's going to take, depending upon if we go out on Saturday the 20th, I think it could easily take 2 or 3 hours. So, but I'll talk to you more about that. We'll see how much time we have available.
Yeah, I thought we'd split it up, and not make it too long a day because Harvest Festival is on Saturday. You don't want to miss
that's
that.
Right. That's the same day. I had forgotten
Yeah,
about.
So that's why I was thinking of doing it in the morning for a little bit and then go check out Harvest Day.
All right, and then maybe we could do it the next day or whatever. So
yeah,
Ellen and I are going to be the principal people doing this, but if anybody wants to join us, just send me off an email. We'll give you the particulars, what the time is and that sort of thing. Okay?
Yeah, I
So-
would like to come, Jim.
Pardon?
I would like to come.
Okay. Actually, on an overall basis, the fact that we don't mollycoddle these trees, I think the fact that we use gator bags the first year and make sure that they have water, our attrition rate is not really that bad at all. Okay. As a matter of fact, those 30 trees we put along Mirror Lake Road that we call Maple Row at Patterson Farm, there's only one out of the 30 that's a little iffy. And Jim Majewski and I are talking and trying to determine whether it's dead or almost dead or will be dead. Okay. But anyway, that's an ongoing discussion. All right. Any other questions? All right. The next item on the agenda is the Homeowners Association, HOAs. Contact info for Publicity. And Dominique is our publicist. And Dominique, do you have any new info as far as that's concerned?
Right. I have contacted Jim Majewski and he gave us a short list of the HOAs, the presidents of the HOAs. My question is, I'm not sure if these people are right for our publicity, because don't the HOAs, the information is within the internal information, isn't it, for the subdivision, or the communication? So would they be interested in sending out information for the outside?
Yeah, I think they would be because these associations, again, I don't know if there's 10 or 20 or 30, but there's a lot of them in Lower Makefield Township. And yeah, generally the head of the associations, the heads of the association are concerned with items affecting the membership. However, the lectures and the events that we have actually been put on over the years are quite, in fact, in interest to everybody living in Lower Makefield Township. So my suggestion would be to contact each of the head of the association and send them a little note or talk to them personally and say, hey, look, we put on these really, really first-class lectures and exhibitions all throughout the year. Pardon? Oh,
That's my phone.
pardon?
It was his phone.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Ignore.
We do this all over all during the year, and we feel these would be
Hello?
of real interest to the people, in the association. And if we would send you information on our various lectures and events, we would appreciate it if you would consider sending them out to all your members.
All right.
Okay? That makes sense?
Yeah, except that most people in Lower Makefield have access to all the other publicity we send through the Facebook, Lower Makefield newsletter and all these things.
I agree, but however, I don't think a little redundancy is going to be.
Yes,
You know,
more
an issue,
publicity is
so-
always better because you don't know what people aren't on Facebook or they don't read the newsletter.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
definitely would pay attention to the HOAs.
Right.
So, and the only problem is I only have five.
That's okay. That's a start. Okay. So,
And some of them have large memberships. Do you have the Regency town on there? Because that's,
Yeah, Regency.
Yeah.
and you-
okay.
Yeah, Regency.
the Regency, there's several hundred, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
You
the
got, yeah.
Woods of Makefield.
Yeah.
another
All right.
reserve. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got, you don't have Tanglewood though.
No.
Okay. So yeah, I would say that in marketing, multiple channels working together bring people across the finish line. So they don't see it in Facebook, they'll see it in an email, they'll see it
Okay.
somewhere else. And so,
Better if they see it in multiple.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with that too. Once they hit me over the head 3 times, I start listening. Okay. So, maybe it's the same concept.
Well, I'll send them all the styrofoam day and see what happens.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sounds good, sounds good. And that's actually the next item on our agenda is the recycling. The Styrofoam Recycling Event is scheduled for 10 a.m. to noon on November 1st. And we need volunteers for that. Now, this is, according to some people, the best thing that the EAC has ever done over the years. We've been doing this for, I don't know, 6, 7 years now. And I think we do this 3 times a year. One of them is right after Christmas time, and another one in the middle of the year, and then one towards the end of the year. And the low point, we might get 40, 50-gallon bags filled with styrofoam. The high end, 120, 50-gallon bags filled with styrofoam. And we rent a truck and we take it down to a processor in Bristol, Pennsylvania, who actually makes various items out of this. They make new styrofoam to be used for packaging. They also make furniture and picture frames and things like that. So this is a real, real good project. And people, they come here and they're saying, thank you. I have literally a room full of this stuff. I don't know what to do with it, and I don't want to put it in the garbage. So anyway,
Yeah.
it's a good project.
Is there any consideration with coupling that with the pumpkins? It's right around Halloween. Lots of people have pumpkins. You could get even more people if you do like a crossover event where you get people to bring their pumpkins in and then learn about the styrofoam recycling.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Oh.
something I think we could think about, right?
We could potentially partner with the composting company that's here, Kona.
Kona, yes. As a matter of fact, Kona was one of the innovative companies that we gave them our Environmental Stewardship Award about 3 years ago, I think.
Fantastic.
And, yeah, and, as a matter of fact, we're going to be talking pretty soon about our Environmental Stewardship Award for, this year, 2025.
Great.
But yeah, Kona, I think, would be another one. And it's not only styrofoam. Alan, why don't you give us a little talk about what else we collect as well on that day?
Yeah, there's three other things. Household batteries, A, C, AAA, AA, and 9 volt. Take those. We take wine corks, and we take prescription bottles with the labels off. And Somia mails those down to Central America, South America, where they're reused. If we are going to take the pumpkins, that's a good idea, but we need to know that pretty soon.
Yeah, well, let me talk to our neighbor who actually has a lawn care business, because he actually is the one who puts out all the pumpkins for Yardley's
Halloween.
yeah, what is it called? An Halloween. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Kenny. And I think he does that as community service, which is really a lot of community service. I bike a lot, during that time of year. There must be 300 or 400 pumpkins there. I mean, this is not a 5-minute job. So that's a good idea. So we're going to look into that. Okay?
Yeah, because I was going to start publicizing this, putting out flyers next week. But I guess we could have a separate flyer for the pumpkins.
Well, yeah, let us find out if it's practical first.
I have sent all the flyers already to the newspapers and.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we'll just have I'll make a separate flyer for the pumpkins if we can do that.
Okay.
All right. The thing is, though, we got to get rid of these things. I don't want 400 pumpkins sitting here.
No, they're
Dave
going to your
township
backyard.
manager comes to work on Monday morning, because we're going to be people non grata. Okay. So anyway, all right. So let's do a little investigation about that. Okay.
So, Eleanor and Elizabeth, you haven't lived until you've participated in one of our recycling events. So think about coming on November 1st.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll send you a flyer so you know the basics on it.
Great.
Okay.
All my batteries that I've been wondering what to do with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and myself and my wife will be there. I happen to have this unique talent that also requires sitting down while everybody is standing to tie these bags. And I have not yet met somebody who does as good a job as I do. Okay. So, and it's also sitting down, which is kind of a perk. Okay. So anyway, all right, next item on the agenda is a review of the proposed chicken ordinance. And John, maybe you can help us out here. I received an email from Kevin Schreiber, and Kevin was the one who initially, asked that we look into this thing. The board asked us to look into it. We did. Kevin actually did a lot of the work on that. And we came up with something that we thought was a decent chicken ordinance, if you want to have a chicken ordinance. But anyway, basically that's where it stood. So could you give us an example?
Yeah, so
Where
we're at with that, yeah. So it's now going to the planning commission. It'll be before the planning commission in November. So in November, the planning commission will review it, and after that time, if there's any edits or anything like that, it would go back to the board of supervisors for advertisement and then an eventual vote. Yeah, probably wouldn't be to the beginning of next year, I would think, based just because we also have budget season and some other stuff.
Sure.
And I appreciate the passion of those who are looking for liberalized chicken poops, but there have been other stuff, stormwater management.
Well, I would tend to agree with you as far as priorities go. I don't think this would probably be number one, but it's also something that I think the board would like to get off their list. And
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this before. My next door neighbor has chickens, and they have a chicken house that almost is as nice as most people's houses, okay? So these are very, very fortunate chickens, as long as they don't leave the gate open, because then we also have a fox in the neighborhood who constantly hangs around the chicken house. So, all right. Thanks for that input, John.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense. And next time I talk to Kevin, I'll tell him what
We actually updated Kevin on that too. So he got an email this week on that. So we kept Kevin in the loop on that. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, the next item on the agenda is Birdtown, PA, and Gene's going to talk about three possible items, or actually one that's actually going to take place. Gene, you want to talk about those three items briefly, please?
Yes, the possible bird lecture in October is actually going to be in November. I hope, right now it's scheduled for November 15th, and it's just a lecture about birds and all the aspects of birds. And the woman who's going to be doing it is a very, very knowledgeable, and it's going to be very interesting. And I'm hoping it's going to go on November 15th, but right now it's kind of not definite, but we hope.
All right, if I might add just one thought there. Juanita Hummel is the woman who's going to be giving this lecture, and she, along with myself, are fellow naturalists at Bowman's Hill Wildflower Preserve. And Juanita knows more about birds than any person I've ever met in my life. She's absolutely amazing. So I hope that, we will be able to avail of her talents on November 15th.
And we're trying to find a good children's program, because we haven't, we've done a lot of, over the last 2 or 3 years since we've been a bird town, we've done a fair number of programs, but none really that were just for children. And so if anybody has any ideas on a good children's program about birds, of course, I'd love to hear it. And we're working in collaboration with Yardley and Bowman's on this program, and the program may be at Bowman's Wildflower Preserve, but that's still up in the air too. And then I will be on September 20th at Harvest Day, the Yardley people have a table, and they invited me to be there with them. And so I will be, I'll be wearing, I decided I want to draw the kids to the table. So I have this crocheted owl that's going to be on the top of my head. And the kids will love it, or the wagons will come and take me away. But that I'm looking forward to this, and trying to find ways to bring children to the tables. And I'm sure we'll have more. And for now, that's all that's on the table.
Gene, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, land use reviews. And Alan, it looks like this is going to be short and sweet.
Yeah, as the agenda says, no new or revised development plans came in this last month. and the Dogwood Drive saga continues. I won't go into detail on that, but I wanted to ask John, are you aware of any moratorium on sewer hookups in the township, and specifically the part of the township governed by the Yardley Sewer Authority?
Not currently, to my best of my knowledge.
Yeah, I
I-
didn't know that either.
Yeah. On the Dogwood Drive, though,
Yeah.
we're still working through that with the solicitor to review that. I kind of
Yeah.
re-escalated that.
Yeah, I've been talking to her.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
she said Jim Bajewski is the holdup right now. So,
and so that's still under review. I
Yeah.
do have another land use item if you're interested, or update, if that's.
course. Yeah, but before we get off that too,
Yeah.
Alan and I have discussed this thoroughly. We've also been down to take a look at the specific development. And everybody talks about a moratorium, but basically talk is cheap. What we would like to see, if there's a moratorium, a signed document saying there is a moratorium. And I think that's what you need. If we don't have that moratorium, then the development that would take place there would be significantly different than would it be if we did in fact have a moratorium.
If it would have to be revised. Yeah, and at one of your meetings, the point, which is also in the Yardley Authority's district, Dan Grenier was saying that they were going to get hookups. They had worked out something. They were going to get 16 hookups or something. I forget what they're called, EDUs or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's going on here? I mean, it's either one or the other. Just want to know which one. Yeah. So we'll keep pushing that. And you probably wanted to talk about the church, John?
No, which church?
Oh, the synagogue that went through zoning.
No. that
Okay,
one-
we won't talk about that.
No. Well, I mean, I certainly can. I mean, that's still kind of before it's just got through the zoning hearing board and it's going to be
Right.
reviewed. But no, that has other stuff. But what I was going to talk about in our last meeting, we announced that we're going to begin an economic development and strategic planning exercise for the area between State Route 332, Stony Hill Road, Township Line, the Edgewood Village area. So this is a way for us to envision what that quadrant of the township will evolve into. And it's partly a way for us to help protect the township in terms of having some oversight as to what gets developed there. A lot of that area is in an area called OR, which is a research area designed for office park. And the office park business is not in business in that no one's building suburban office space. And this is a chance for us, a planning exercise to re-envision how that quadrant would work and how to tie that in with Edgewood Village. I think, we've Prickett Preserve, which isn't fully complete, isn't quite mixed use. And we'll see how it turns out when it's all together. But there's already been questions and requests for across the street to be developed, as well as other areas to be developed. Now, the Shady Brook Farm obviously has parts in Middletown and in Newtown that those are owned by separate folks, and those may be developed. Well, Middletown's already as going through the process for a 55+ community. And the idea behind this exercise is for us to work to develop a strategy for, understanding how eventually that would be developed, that area.
Again, can you delineate what the roads and area is, John?
Sure. So that's why I was just pulling that up on my phone. Because it's SR 332, and it is Stony Hill Road, Township Line Road, Edgewood Village area.
Stony Hill Road. What else?
Township Line.
Township Line Road.
And the whole Edgewood Village area. And the idea is we have somewhat of a town center in Edgewood Village that's evolving. And yet we also have mixed use across the bridge. how can we tie all that together so that a pedestrian could comfortably, and you can walk across right now. And by the way, we're fixing some pedestrian issues with the lights. I know I've gotten questions about that. But how do you bring all that to be more cohesive? Also, there will probably be redevelopment as it relates to some of the strip malls in there, or at least that mall area, to adjust to changing customer behavior in terms of how the environment for retail is. So rather than wait to get development proposals and then be put on their timeline, we want to help provide a vision such that it can do twofold: help the community understand what could be there, and the benefits and drawbacks of that development, but also give guidelines for developers, because at the end of the day, property owners do have rights, and we want to make sure that, that they can develop in a way that's the most beneficial for the township, and can be effective for them too. And so that's why we're approaching this planning exercise. In the interest of full disclosure, I know many people ask, we have received stuff that didn't quite move forward. And I think the board now is trying to say, hey, we want to proactively provide a vision for that area. And the planning commission will be working on that exercise.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting, because I thought we initially had a plan like that for Flowers Field, and that really hasn't come to fruition. Basically, the only thing in Flowers Field are residential townhomes. But there were plans there for like a cleaners, a bank, and maybe a restaurant and other things like that.
Yeah,
But they have never come to pass.
Yeah, we had a restaurant concept that was there that was, I don't know if it got a final approval or where that's at. So some of what's happened in that area, again, the challenge with this is there's an economic environment too. And the economic environment, for example, in the choice of land, like for a while, and I think about the supervisors that predate me, they were like, office parks are fine, right? Especially in that area off of Township Line Road, the traffic impact wasn't a main part of the community. But those office parks ended up being 50% full. So you had a situation where you had basically half vacant property. Fortunately, and we've been very fortunate, we were able to get Crown Holdings for a while as a corporate headquarters. So it's our only Fortune 500 company. And that helped fill up part of Lower Makefield Corporate Center. And then they rehabbed those buildings to bring in new tenants. But there isn't demand for new development in office parks. And so as a consequence, we have to figure out what people need and want. There is, a housing challenge in the United States in terms of prices are too high. We don't necessarily have enough supply. And some of Brickett addresses that. And so, I think there'll be open discussion about how that gets worked out.
I mean, I am being directly affected. We're looking for a house now and you can't afford anything in the area.
Yeah, it's,
Say we can't afford anything, the home that we want in this area.
yeah. Some of the challenges that we face, and when we get these discussions about housing availability, laws in different states are very different. Pennsylvania tends to have rather developer-friendly laws, whereas California is quite the opposite. And California's had to readjust their laws. And Pennsylvania, we're not quite in that same mold, but we have different challenges in terms of where we have development that isn't tied in as well as it should be. We haven't, the mistakes we've made over 50 years of development in this area. So we just have different challenges, and sometimes the media narrative's too focused on certain things and not focused on, how do we bring additional housing and how do we bring stuff that is accessible. And by accessible, I'm not just talking about accessible for folks with disabilities, accessible by price, accessible that all kinds of people can live there, and be happy. So that's some elements of, what will be thought about in terms of that, as well as what kinds of retail things are people looking for in the community as well, what other services.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And that's a challenge in this area because property keeps increasing in value all the time here. And, when outsiders are looking to buy a home or maybe to set up a small business or something, any inducement would probably be helpful, and that's what this redevelopment thing could
Yeah, and
hopefully help with.
And some of our policies as a township have had a direct effect in increasing the property values. And we've been upfront about that. For example, our desire to have additional open space over the years has had a dramatic increase in the value of the property because people know that certain areas aren't going to be developed, that they're going to have more land around them. And if they choose that openness, as Alan will tell you, the studies, I think it's Colorado State, communities that have more open space are significantly higher in average property values. So there's trade-offs that we'll make for that. But anyway, it's very early, but part of us is talking about it so that people feel comfortable and also feel comfortable in providing feedback on what they envision for that area.
And of course, John, if the township requires any expertise that we have, we would certainly be glad to help.
Mhm.
I think it's a very interesting concept, okay?
Mhm.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is the proposed single-use plastics ban. And I think that's set up for, is that September 30th or November 1st?
November
Oh, November 8th. November
8th, yeah. Here's our poster.
Well, we had talked to, John, we had talked to you before about that. And I'm not sure you thought at the time that the township was possibly ready for something like this, but our concept here is that this is strictly an information seminar. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing in some outside experts, some people from Newtown Township that were very instrumental in passing their single-use plastics ban. Ellen Snyder, the Board of Supervisor Chair, as well as Elaine McCarron, who was very instrumental on this ordinance when she was on the EAC. And again, we're hoping we're going to have a good crowd because what we're envisioning is about 50 minutes worth of lectures from Farron Savitz, who was the chair of the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, I think. And he's very, very knowledgeable about this. So we're hoping for a good crowd. And after the lectures take place, we're going to have the three experts sitting there. And hopefully, for as long as people want to hang around, we will answer any questions or concerns that they might have. And the idea, of course, is to get as many board members at that meeting as possible, again, other township officials. So,
and by that time, we'll have 2 new board members joining.
yeah, and I will talk to you about that after the meeting, okay? So, do you have anything to add to that, Dominique?
No, just that the poster is ready, but did you see my email asking for your approval of the last line?
No, did you,
I was surprised.
did you just send that, or did you send it a while ago?
A while ago.
Okay.
I just added because we actually Kona compost. I contacted the what's her name, Heather.
Right.
And she's willing to come.
Oh, okay.
And maybe 2 other businesses, a refinery in Yardley and another business. So I added a line to say with the participation of businesses from the No Waste Initiative.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly have no issue with that. And what Dominique is talking about is that this was still in like the talking stage, but I think now it's pretty well cemented that after the lectures and after the Q&A period, there's going to be at least 3 local businesses that will put up tables that are environmentally oriented, like the Refillery, I think Project Earth, what's the place in your
Spearhead.
Spearhead,
Yeah.
and maybe Kona Compost.
Kona compost, yeah.
And of course, with the caveat, they cannot be selling anything, okay, but it's strictly informational. So, yeah, I think I think
Okay,
that's fine.
be ready.
I'm sorry, I have to go. I have church choir rehearsals at 7 on Thursdays. So I gotta duck out,
Okay,
but I'll see y'all in a
all
month.
right, Cheryl.
Oh, then short.
Okay. All right, the, Dominique and Alan, thank you for your work on that. It's very much appreciated. Alan is our kind of graphics guy. And,
Just disappeared.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, thank you. Okay,
Like,
all right.
We are too.
Yeah, thank you for the cookies.
All right, thank you again, Elizabeth. All right, so, yeah, and thank you and Dominic and Alan for the work you've done on that. The EAC lecture series, well, you already talked about several from Birdtown, PA, and we're looking for suggestions, not so much for this year, but when you talked about, Eleanor, the fast fashion industry, I think
Absolutely.
that's a real excellent choice for spring.
Sure.
And you would be able to put on some PowerPoint presentation
Absolutely.
in that. Super.
I know a lot about fashion waste.
Okay,
And it ties in very much with single-use plastic as well. So
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also had another suggestion about a lecture series potentially pertaining to the data center that's coming to Fairless Hills. I know it's not in our township, but I would be very interested in hearing about experiences from around the country of how people have dealt with data centers and the
With what centers?
data centers.
Data.
Or yeah, they're going to build one in Fairless Hills. I can't remember when it's coming, but it's coming.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's in the old steel plant on the Delaware River. So that impacts, that impacts water, electricity, air, all of it. And it's 15 minutes down the road from us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be interested in hearing more about that or even putting together my own research to present if that's of interest.
Well, I need
Right.
some base information. What actually are these data centers?
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
The cloud.
talk about that. Yeah. Well, because, AI has become, very prevalent, they need places to store the information. And what they do is they put up these data centers that hold devices that hold the information. And it requires an incredible amount of energy. It requires an incredible amount of water to cool these things down. They are very polluting to the air. They also require diesel generators to be operating at all times. So they have diesel trucks that circle these centers that also are spewing gas into the air. So it also vibrates at a strange level and can affect, residents within the area. So Memphis, Tennessee is having big problems with it right now. Texas is
Yeah.
Memphis, Tennessee having big
As well,
problems.
yeah.
Ashburn, Virginia is having problems.
Mm.
Texas is having big problems. It's environmentally, it's very impactful. So it's,
They all have the data centers.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think something
Population
that,
has been sick. People
yeah,
get sick.
people are getting very sick. So it'd be interesting. And also residents in Texas are being asked to take shorter showers because the data centers are drying up their reservoirs.
Yeah.
So it's something that maybe we could talk about in a future meeting, but preemptive, policy suggestions on how can we protect our energy? How can we protect our water, especially just in our township? So
Yeah, okay.
Or-
Now,
Yeah.
I understand.
And-
I know what they are. I just didn't.
yeah,
And,
Wait,
if I
but-
may, say, a few years ago, maybe was pre-COVID, just during COVID, we managed to get rid of Elcon. The same thing, it was a big movement.
Yeah.
It started by 2 people basically, and they had to shut down. So I'm not sure if they shut down because of COVID or because of the popular uprise against but there was this same
Sure.
area, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. So Elcon was in the Keystone Industrial Improvement Center. They did have issues with their DEP filing, and eventually I think they decided to walk away. The data center issue is one that is a very large Pennsylvania issue. The Pennsylvania Association of Township Supervisors, that's one of the biggest policy issues they're working on now because of the electrical generation issues and the other stuff. It's driving increases in prices for electricity. It gets to a larger question about development in general, which is development can be constructive and good, but there are negative externalities that need to be compensated or addressed for. And, you know, having everybody's utility prices jump 20 or 30% isn't something people want, especially when they're not necessarily getting the benefit of the AI data centers. In fact, in many cases, they're losing out. So they're both paying more in electricity and they're losing. Yeah, it depends. I mean, so questions about the claims and stuff like that, that gets, I mean, that's certainly open for debate. And I think the challenge with that is one thing with that particular area is people need to realize that that was the U.S. Steel plant. It was, you were there.
Yeah, John is alluding to the fact that I worked as a labor relations negotiator with U.S. Steel for 31 years. Okay. And I know about the history of that site after U.S. Steel left. So,
yeah, and it's for us, it's in the larger Bucks County community, it is something we need to find a way to redevelop constructively. And we have had Gamesa before for wind turbine manufacturing. I guess sustainable energy is out these days, but it was, you know, it was a functioning plant there for a while. So that's, we need to collectively as a community find good uses for that property for folks.
Yeah. So you're not coming to tomorrow?
oh, that's quite interesting. And Eleanor, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Sure.
And I think
All right.
that
yeah.
would be a fruitful item to have a lecture on maybe early next year. Or do we want to even maybe discuss this at our next meeting? What do people
I
think?
think so.
John,
How about it? We can put it on our agenda for the next meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
John, isn't the governor very happy about the?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the big problem,
Well,
isn't it? Give it up.
it depends. I mean, there are challenges in managing different stakeholders and different outcomes. And, you know, I wasn't excited about the ethylene cracker plant in Western Pennsylvania, but, you know, the folks there, you know, that was a choice they were making, you know.
Yeah, I think it's important to just educate people on what kind of choice they are making.
Okay.
So,
And I have more thoughts on the
good to talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. And I totally
Okay.
agree with what you were talking about, John.
Yeah.
There's development and there's development.
So
And some we welcome.
So
if
you'll
they
be here
follow
about noon?
consensus, and others, well, maybe we would
Okay.
like them to go somewhere else. So,
Okay.
okay.
I'll let them know.
EAC and Township newsletters. Paul isn't here. He's our newsletter guy, but he will be sending out information on all our upcoming events as they occur. Odds and ends. Installation of bike racks. Somebody suggested, was that Alan or somebody on the committee?
Somebody
Yes.
suggested it to me and I passed
Okay.
it on.
All right. Well, anyway, I talked to our township manager and he thinks it's a good idea. So we're going to have a bike rack out front pretty soon, I think, which is kind of good. And see, there's some issues with small government, positive and negative. But this is one of the positive things. When you have an issue, you talk to your supervisors and bingo, it can happen just like that. So the next item, the tree bank ordinance modification. What the township is doing right now, and we supplied them the verbiage, is an update to our tree bank ordinance to include shrubs and perennials because they were in our native plant list. And this was the thinking in the beginning, but we didn't spell it out. So now it's going to be spelled out. And do you know the status that I think that was going to be discussed soon, John?
Yeah, I don't know the specific date on that.
Okay, all right.
It went through the planning commission on Monday,
Okay.
Huh.
and
Went
they had
through.
a little change to it, but I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. All right, and then, oh, Memorial Park Arboretum sign cleaning. We need some volunteers. These signs, we have an incredible arboretum over in the Memorial Park of maybe 150 native trees. I forget how many are there. And we have this beautiful signage, and the signage is becoming over time unreadable. So I'm going to go out one day with 409 Windex and water and see what works. And once I find out what works, we're going to need some volunteers. This is not a high-tech job, and it's not a high-intellect job. But as you get older, these are the kind of jobs I like, where you don't do a lot of thinking and you get something done. Okay. So anyway, if anybody wants to join us, just give me a buzz. Okay. I don't know exactly when it'll be, but sometime in the next week or two. And the last thing on the volunteer landscape equipment restrictions, I've been getting some verbiage from other people and municipalities about a leaf blower restriction. And Princeton, I think Salisbury and one other town is taking a look at this. We took a look at Princeton's, they have an ordinance that's a lot broader than that. It has to do with all landscape equipment. And I send out a copy to everybody. My initial impression is it's very draconian, I think, because of all the equipment that it discusses. And also what we're concerned with here, I think primarily is the leaf blower restrictions. And the people who have been doing our landscaping have been doing it for about 40 years. And when you look at Princeton's ordinance, it's various times of the year and various times you're allowed to do certain things. And leaf blower is totally restricted, gas powered during the whole summer. Now, when our lawn is getting done, after they cut the grass and everything, they do trimming. And after the trimming, they blow the grass, okay, into, pile and pick it up or whatever. Now, they have, just about all of them have gas-powered equipment. Now, I guess battery-powered equipment is available. I think what it would be is an expense for these landscapers to get rid of their gas equipment and go to, battery-operated equipment. So, and I know one of our members, Dominique, has an issue with a neighbor who insists that there's not one specific or kind of leaf on her property. And anytime there's a leaf blowing down, they're clearing it off. And, the noise can be really, really annoying. Now, when our lawn is done, it takes about 15 minutes. If the neighbor's done, 15 minutes. So I don't think from a personal viewpoint, it's not an issue. But, they do emit exhaust fumes that are noxious. So I don't know what we want to do with this. I would welcome any input from anybody.
Oh, I love this plan.
Me too.
We also have issues with that.
Yeah.
Every day is somebody's cutting their grass or blowing something off their lawn.
Yeah.
And it can be very annoying. So having just a day of peace would be wonderful.
Yep.
But, up to the township, obviously.
Yep. John, what do you think about something like that?
The township does have noise ordinances as it relates to equipment. I know we were involved on an enforcement action a couple of years ago on a building situation where they were.
Sorry, when?
A couple of years ago, I won't rat out the company because it's long ago, a couple of years, but where they were working before the allotted time period and was right next to a group of folks. And those folks weren't happy about it. There were a lot of other issues we had to deal with too around lighting and things like that, that eventually all got worked out. But there is an existing ordinance around noise at certain times. I think it would be harder, and I'm not sure that the temperament, I'd
I
have to.
know Westover would love this.
Good.
I can
Uh,
speak for them.
Yeah, I would have to say the battery powered leaf blowers probably, they also have high pitched noise as well. So if your question is small gas engines, which are heavily polluting, no doubt about that. I don't know that the votes are there for that necessarily, given the composition of the board. The noise ordinance part, I think is, if there are tweaks about that, or if there are people that are going before the time period, that's not a problem. We should definitely enforce that. But typically, like you, Jim, we have landscapers that just kind of blow in and out, and they're gone in a half hour, once a week. And they're doing all of the yards at once. So it's one of those circumstances. So it's unfortunately, unlike your circumstance, and by the way, once you mentioned that, it reminded me of a neighbor growing up whose grass was immaculate, like perfect. There's nothing on it.
Same.
Yeah. So, well, that woman, Mrs. Pareca, hopefully, lovely woman, just very detailed. Yes, rest in peace. Lovely interior of the house, beautiful, immaculate. But those are sometimes things can be mediated between neighbors in terms of timing and things like that, which you kind of want people to try and do first.
Yeah, well, there's somebody, maybe Dominique or Eleanor, why don't you check our noise ordinance? Okay, and you can find it on lmt.org. And maybe next meeting, give us a little discussion about it, okay? Look, if I were Dominique and I was hearing that every single day for more than 5 minutes, I think I would be a little annoyed.
Right.
Well,
But it is a morning thing, or is it?
This is public meeting.
Yeah, it is a public meeting. You could say the person's name, but it's gonna be.
well, is there also a possibility of you talking to that unnamed person?
I have,
Okay.
but
But yeah, anyway, okay, Eleanor, next meeting.
I
you're gonna Give
will-
us a little discussion
I will
on
check on
LMP's
the-
noise ordinance.
I will do that.
If you have any issue trying to find it, just let me know.
No problem.
Okay.
It'll show up, once you click on it from the website, it goes to ecode.com or ecode360.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
so there's a time.
Yeah.
So-
Like 8 or 9.
Okay.
Is there?
No,
Okay.
no. What about the weekends though?
It's later in the weekends.
Mhm.
for work.
Okay.
Also, there's one last thing that's actually not on the agenda or even on odds and ends, but I just want to throw it out and maybe we can discuss that next meeting. In Upper Makefield Township, you need a permit to remove a tree. And it doesn't, in Lower Makefield Township, that only is an issue if the tree is in some kind of restricted area where there's some environmental considerations. So when I looked at it, I used the word draconian before. I'm going to use it a second time. This is really incredibly restrictive, I think. They're talking about 6-inch trees even. So I think this is something that we might want to take a look at in Lower Makefield Township to protect maybe some larger trees. So anyway, I think next meeting, we're going to put that on the agenda and we'll have a little discussion about it. And certainly we would welcome input from everybody, especially you, John, too, being a member of the board. So, okay, unless anybody has anything else, I think that's it for tonight. If nobody has anything else, I will entertain a motion to end the meeting.
Motion?
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor?
Hey,
Aye, okay, the meeting of September 11th, 2025 is hereby officially over. Thank you all for coming. And Kevin, thank you again, okay? Nice job for us.
all right, see you later.
That's the recording.
Oh, yeah, I have to stop recording.
Bye, Alan.
Hold on.
Hi, see you in 1 week.
See you soon.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Meeting for all.